Hello, and welcome to a live deprogram with Keri Smith. Thanks for being here. Sorry for the short announcement. I wasn't sure if I was going to be able to do a show today, but it worked out. So here I am, and I'm glad because there's something I want to talk about in relation to the last show. So in the last show, we watched Ben Shapiro's excellent speech from Turning Point USA's Amfest conference. It was a speech that focused on truth, primarily on truth, and the importance of truth, as a primary value. And it was also, I would say, about discernment, and it was about being courageous and not being afraid to take a simple moral stand against behavior that is evil, even if it's from people who claim to be on your quote unquote side or people who you say that you're friends with. A good friend, as we talked about in the last episode, a good friend is a person who actually does call you out for your bad behavior, is a friend who holds you accountable for bad behavior. Like, that's the kind of friends I want around me. That's the kind of church I want around me. People that love you enough to tell you the truth and to be concerned about your discernment, your judgment, your soul, your behavior, the important things. So that was Ben Shapiro's speech. And there are a lot of people who are longtime fans of his who loved it, but there's also a lot of people like myself who haven't really watched him a lot who really appreciated that particular speech. I love it. I've watched it 3 or 4 times now, and, I just think it was definitely the best speech at Amfest, and I think it is one of the best speeches I've heard. So enough about that speech. Now we're gonna get into the response at Amfest. One of the people he mentioned in his speech was Megyn Kelly and the ongoing chaos and division that's been caused by one, Candace Owens, who is a malignant narcissist who's launched a 3-month one-sided campaign of targeted harassment and reputation destruction against many people on the right, including Charlie Kirk, Charlie Kirk's legacy, TPUSA, all of Charlie's friends, Charlie's pastors, and Charlie's widow, Erica Kirk. She's been on this campaign of harassment, defamation, lies, slander, and abuse. It's an abusive campaign because it also involves her sending her millions of crazy cult followers to attack these people. She knows that's what they do. These people have been receiving, her targets have been receiving daily death threats, kidnapping threats, the most vile hatred in amounts that you and I can only imagine. The magnitude of how much they're receiving. One of her crazy cultists has already been arrested for making credible death threats to some of the people on her target list. And so this is no small matter. I've seen a lot of people, some people who have this understandable, very understandable feeling of, I'm tired of this. I'm tired of it too. I get it completely. I'm tired of this and I'm just going to ignore it from now on. No judgment. I completely get that. If that's your choice to ignore it, it's probably I trust you to make the decision for yourself. My only point is I can't ignore it because I know that if I were one of those targets, having been the target of that kind of a malignant narcissist before, that you can't avoid it. You can't ignore it. You don't have the privilege of ignoring it when you're one of the people that they're abusing. So that's probably why on some level it bothers me so much, is to see this evil done against innocent people and to see, until recently, relatively few influential, like large influencer accounts coming out and saying this is wrong, right? So Megyn Kelly was mentioned because she has refused to come out and say this is wrong. And just to be clear, because you're going to see some of her justifications for this in a second. But just to be clear, I'm not a person who makes demands of others to denounce or to say this or to say that. I hate that. I hate when people do it to me and I don't do it to them because, first of all, pragmatically, it usually backfires anyway. It usually has the opposite effect. And so I just sort of pray for people privately. And like with Megyn Kelly, for example, I kept thinking, well, she's gonna see. It's gonna go so far, it's gonna become so extreme that she's gonna see, and she's going to come to her senses and say, like, "This is wrong." And, When a person doesn't do that, when they in fact double down, triple down in the opposite direction and make justifications for the kind of evil we've seen on display from Candace Owens and her cult, then I, yes, I make a judgment about their character. That's, of course, anybody who tells you they don't make judgments or moral judgments are wrong is a hypocrite, because saying moral judgments are wrong is itself a moral judgment. Like, that's itself a moral judgment. That's what it is. Anybody who says don't judge others, especially when they try to use scripture to justify that, they don't know what they're talking about. They haven't read the context around that verse that they like to all quote. That verse in context says, as a believer, you shouldn't judge others because you are going to be judged. Be careful judging others, because you are going to be judged with the same measurement that you use for others. Meaning, there are several places in the Bible where we are called to judge, especially our brothers and sisters in Christ. And what are we called? What measurement, what standard of measurement are we called to judge them with? God's standard of measurement, not our own. Not our fickle human heart and the desires of the heart and our own selfish measurement or prejudices, but we're called to use God's judgment. In fact, there's entire, chapters about what I talked about with the church, holding us accountable, about holding our brothers and sisters in Christ accountable when they sin, especially if they start living in sin. That's why I love my church so much, because I know that I have a pastor and elders and a church family who would be the very first, because they love me so much, would be the very first to come and talk to me if they saw me engaging in something bad, something that's not good for me. And so we are called to judge, but with God's righteous judgment, not with our human fallible, you know, you can't leave it to yourself, basically. It's not like, for example, here's the kind of, like, human judgment that I've seen happening a lot lately. There's a lot of people who wanna criticize Erica Kirk for her choice in clothing, or they don't like that she wears sparkly tops, or they think she wears too much makeup, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Um, Most of those, that kind of judgment that I've seen online, it's human judgment. It's this sort of, gossipy kind of, I don't like that you're doing, I think it's blah blah blah. It's sort of like the people who gossip in churches, who will gossip about, oh, this person wore braids in their hair, or this person did this, and it's just this complete nitpicking. Now, we all do that's probably very familiar, because we all do that kind of human judgment. I judge you personally. A human judgment I make is if you wear socks with sandals. That's what I do. But when you use God's measurement for judgment, it's about how a person's behavior lines up with biblical truth. How is a person, are they showing fruits of the spirit, or are they showing that they're wallowing in vices like the 7 deadly sins? That you cannot be a human being and not make judgments. We make 1,000 judgments a day. But as a Christian, we're called to root those judgments in the word. So, happy half. Literally wearing socks with sandals in my house at the moment. I consider them slippers, to be fair. I'll give you a pass. I know my friend Texas Sheep Lady is also wearing wool socks with sandals. Okay, we've gotten off to a controversial start here. The socks with sandals. Okay. I love you guys. So that's just to set up what we're about to see coming. So I was, as I said, I'm not one of these people. I'm not like, Megyn Kelly, you better say this. I don't like making demands of people. I don't like it when they do to me. But I was sitting back quietly to see how things would unfold and if she would take a stance on this, and she did. And the stance she took was to tell everyone who had concerns to F off. And so we're going to start with that clip. This is the clip that I saw that at this point, when I saw this, I said, wow, this tells me everything I need to know. I'm done with her. I'm done with her. Um, I think making a moral judgment on whether the behavior that Candace Owens has been engaging in for the past 3 months, on whether that's right or wrong, this is like the easiest moral litmus test in the world, and Megyn Kelly completely flunked it. So whether it's a result of bad character on her part or bad judgment, it could just be bad judgment, bad discernment, right? It doesn't matter to me because it's so off the mark that I I can't listen to anything else she has to say. I'm done. I unsubscribed to all of it. So, I'm not gonna give her the click. We're gonna watch a new Christian YouTuber, new to me. I've discovered a lot of new channels that are new to me in the past 6 months or so, as I've started to shed a lot of the channels I used to watch, like Megyn's. It's created space for new channels, and this is a Christian YouTuber named Todd Thinks. And I wanna thank you to the people who recommended him to me. And so we're gonna watch this clip. This is what led up to her Amfest appearance, and, we're gonna watch it with Todd because it's so funny. You guys go and subscribe to Todd Thinks. Here we go.
She and I actually have only got...
Let me go to the beginning.
Basically mistreating his wife. He went on and on about this story. And at some point...
Okay, so here, I'm just gonna summarize this because I don't wanna, like, stream his whole video. You should go and watch the whole thing. But he's talking about how, he and his wife used to attend a Christian marriage, retreat, and they would break off into groups where all the men were talking and all the women were talking, and there was a man in his group who started sharing a story, and it was very clear to everyone that the man was, like, abusing his wife. And so at some point, Todd Thinks said, "Hey, I gotta stop you here. Like the behavior you're describing towards your wife is abusive, right?" And this guy said to him, he was so offended. He said, "Have some compassion, like for him. Have some compassion. How dare you judge me?" Right? The same old thing. And Todd was like, basically like, "I am. I'm expressing compassion for your wife, and the judgment was righteous." And so he kinda gives that as an example before because you can see how it applies to the situation with Megyn and Candace. So here we go.
And I'm going to show you why, because we're going to look at Megyn Kelly and her lies and her moral, let's just say her moral quandary, where she wants you to think that she is that she's standing on some moral high horse while saying F you, her words, or F off. I don't even like to, I don't even like to pantomime that kind of talk, but she wants you to think that she's some beacon of morality because she refuses to attack Candace Owens. This is the thing that I don't respect. If you're going to take a dump on me, just go ahead and take a dump. Right? If you just want to stand by Candace, say you want to stand by Candace because you think, it's whatever. Don't try to make it seem like we're doing something wrong for asking you to, I don't know, have some basic moral clarity. This is what I hate. Let's listen to Megyn Kelly lie and deceive in the most low and completely dishonorable way that I've seen from any of these people in quite some time.
And that was a clear play on words, if you will, because Candace, when she had...
Just for background, she is basically setting up that Erica Kirk asked Candace to stop, and now she's responding to, this is a video about how Megyn Kelly supposedly facilitated this, or apparently facilitated the meeting between Candace and Erica. And, she's just addressing that Erica explicitly told her to stop. And so that's where we are.
Started down the turning point narrative, had said, only my husband or Erica Kirk can tell me to stop this. And, like one word from Erica will stop this. And Erica didn't say anything about this. She hasn't really been commenting on podcasts and so on. But she did, as you saw in that clip, say stop. And it was not taken as the command to stop. I think Candace felt she was saying stop lying, and Candace, her defense was she's not lying. She's actually trying to do an investigation.
Did you see what she just did there?
Yes.
This is the thing that I don't understand. I see Megyn Kelly's brand for her entire career has been, I am a no holds barred truth teller. I'm tough. I'm a tough journalist. I stood up to Donald Trump. I say hard things. I have never seen somebody so deathly afraid of another person in my life. You can just tell Megyn Kelly, she just doesn't want any smoke with Candace or Candace's crazy fans, because these people are certifiably insane. And right now, Candace Owens is bigger than Megyn Kelly by, I don't know, probably 10x. Contrast what Megyn Kelly is doing versus what Ali Beth Stuckey did.
Yes.
And think about the difference in the moral clarity and the courage and conviction. Ali Beth Stuckey did not attack Candace. She didn't call her bad. She didn't call her names. She didn't say she was a lowlife. She didn't say she was lying. She didn't say any of that. Look at the difference. Look at the contrast between moral clarity, courage, valor, and this yellow belly compromiser. And now she wants you to think, this is why I stopped this. She, instead of saying Candace didn't honor her word to stop when Erica told her to stop, she is implicitly or trying to soft pedal the idea that, well, Candace didn't feel like Erica was asking her to stop. She felt like, she was asking her to stop lying. Let's listen to it again.
But she did.
He's so right here. This is a moral equivocation. Candace did a typical narcissist lie, and all of us who heard her saying that back in September, she said it on September 16th, less than a week after Charlie had been murdered. She had already launched so far into her despicable attacks against everyone Charlie loved that at that point on September 16th, she said, if Erica wants me to stop, all she has to do is tell me to stop, which itself is disgusting because it's demanding narcissistic supply from a grieving widow, like interrupt your grieving process to give this psychopath attention and tell them to stop. That was what she wanted, was Erica's attention. And back then on September 17th, I posted about it and said, not only is this despicable, but anyone who knows anything about malignant narcissists knows that they never keep their word. It doesn't stop. Giving her the attention she wants and telling her to stop is not going to work. So flash forward 3 months later, Erica went on several news stations and turned directly to the camera and said, stop. That's all I have. Stop. And predictably, what did the malignant narcissist do? Oh, well, she's not technically telling me to stop. She's telling me technically to stop lying, and I'm not lying. Therefore, I'm going to continue the abuse. It was disgusting. And Megyn Kelly is carrying water for that right now. She says, in Candace's defense, when did you become Candace Owens? When did you become the defender of this malignant narcissist? At what point did you make that choice? Because you did make a choice to do that. I wanted to point something out quickly. Hey, Dion, Queen of Quotes is here. Dion says, to be fair, crazy is scary. 100%. And that was why I was very slow to say anything about Megyn Kelly, because I assumed that she's probably afraid of Candace and Candace's fans. And I would still be saying nothing if she had said nothing. But she went beyond fear. She went beyond, staying silent out of fear of being attacked herself, which is cowardice, but I understand it. She went beyond that and she started defending Candace Owens, defending the behavior and pretending like there's some moral equivalency between Erica and Candace and that they need to just have a talk. And she called it a feud and a beef. She trivialized what's been happening to Erica. That was disgusting to me at that point. That goes beyond staying quiet out of fear of becoming a target yourself. Yes, and like Happy Half says, Megyn said she favors Candace asking these questions indefensible. Absolutely. That's what we're going to see next at TPUSA on the stage. Megyn went even further and said she is in favor of what Candace is doing.
As you saw in that clip, say stop. And it was not taken as the command to stop. I think Candace felt she was saying stop lying, and Candace.
Why would Candace say?
What a bunch
Why
of crap.
would Candace feel like she was saying stop lying? You can see how obvious it is that Megyn Kelly is just trying to stay in Candace's good graces. Why would she feel? What reason would she have to feel like Erica was telling her to stop lying? Why would she need to say stop lying? I mean, you think about how stupid and ridiculous that is. You don't have to say stop lying. Does anybody want to be lied upon? Who wants to be slandered? Like, oh, well, if someone's hitting you, they should have to say to stop hitting me. Stop hitting me. And else, how would you know that they don't want you to hit them? How stupid is this? And this is and you're going to see here in a moment where she's going to get all self-righteous. And this is the thing that I don't respect about her. But this is the first way she is attempting to deceive. But let's let her continue.
Her defense was she's not lying. She's actually trying to do an investigation into.
See, she's not lying. She is 100% lying, and you just don't have the courage to say that.
Thank you,
Megyn. Let's just put that on the table.
Thank you. And like Tina said in the chat, if she didn't have the courage to call it out because she's afraid of Candace and she's afraid of Candace's cult, then she should have just sat it out. But instead, she chose to go and make these statements and to defend what Candace is doing and to carry water for her disgusting lies and excuses for her abuse. And that, to me, that's just a bridge too far. I can't.
The true killer of Charlie Kirk. I've said before, and I will say again, I think they have the true killer of Charlie Kirk. His name is Tyler Robinson. He's in custody. And I have every reason to believe that he committed this murder. Many people disagree with me. Many people believe there's more to this story, that we're being lied to by our FBI, that there are too many inconsistencies around the official story. And those people are more than entitled to that belief. I don't share it. That's fine. This is America. You can feel differently about these.
More homage to Candace, more obeisance to Candace. Honorary member of the Cantifa cult is Megyn Kelly, except for I don't think she's a true believer. She's just afraid.
Things. But with things ratcheting up between Erica and Candace last week, many people had been asking me, why aren't you saying anything? Obviously, I love Erica Kirk. I do. I love her. And I feel, as I said on the tour, protective of her because she's in an extremely vulnerable state right now. Yes, she's taken on the CEO position of Turning Point. And, it's a fair question to ask whether that's a job she can do right now while she's at the height of her grieving. I take no position on that. I think she's doing fine. But I also think it's fair. You can ask that. So I don't like to see her get attacked at all. And I wish that would stop. And to be honest, I wish Candace wouldn't be pursuing the Turning Point narrative at all. Never mind Erica. Though again, she hasn't graduated to blaming Erica for Charlie's murder. She's criticizing her and the media tour. And that is fair game. That piece of it is fair game. So in any.
So you wish. So you're operating on the wish system, as one king of comedy used to say. You're on the wish system? Cedric the Entertainer said, I wish, if you know, you know. I'm not going to finish that. Do you wish that she would stop enough to ask her to stop?
Exactly.
Maybe even tell her to stop?
Maybe you could
publicly,
maybe
like Matt Walsh did?
Maybe you could say this is wrong, like Matt Walsh did.
How about this, Candace? How about stop? You said you would stop. Why don't you just honor what you said? She can't even ask her to do that. She can't even ask Candace to honor her word. She has to couch that and all kinds of, I'm sorry, Miss Candace. I know that you might feel like she was saying something that she obviously didn't say, and I really, if I had my druthers, and I'm not the mother of the internet, but if things were like as I would prefer them to be, perhaps it would be nice if maybe you would, like, I don't know, stop saying that Candace is or that Erica might be participating in covering up her husband's death. I kind of would prefer that. But who am I to say? What kind of lily-livered nonsense is this?
This guy's great. Somebody asked in the chat, what's his name? His channel's called Todd Thinks. I'll put a link in the comments afterwards also. But you got to go look him up. He's great. I love that. If I had my druthers, I really would prefer. I wish that you would, that this would. Also, she uses distancing language. Please take note of this. People use distancing language when they want to distance themselves from something bad that they've done. And you will see this if you watch police interrogation videos with murderers. When they say instead of saying, like if you watch interviews with Chris Watts, for example, who murdered his family, or people like that, instead of saying when I killed my wife, they'll say when my wife died. You see how they take themselves out of it, out of the action part of the sentence. They make it a passive thing that happened. When my wife died is passive. When I killed my wife is active, right? So people do this when they want to distance themselves from something bad they've done. But Megyn just did it here for Candace. She didn't say, I wish Candace would stop attacking them. She said, I wish the attacks would stop. The attacks would stop. Where are the attacks coming from, huh? Who's doing the action part of that sentence? What's the noun that's missing in front of the action? It's not like the attacks are passive. I wish the attacks would stop. That's a passive statement. It's really important, especially if you're interested in cluster B tactics, narcissistic tactics, people who are manipulators and abusers. Like, if you watch true crime, you probably watch behavioral analysts and stuff as well, and they talk about when people use it's a human thing that people do if they haven't accepted responsibility for bad things they've done. They're more likely to use that passive voice when describing those things. And she just did it for Candace. I wish the attacks would stop. His channel name is Todd Thinks. Okay, we're getting to the real. This is what put a bow on it for me with being done with Megyn Kelly, is what's coming next.
But there's more. This is where I'm going to show you where she sent me over the edge.
Event. Candace knows I disagree with her on this. Petty internet people want to turn that into a cat fight between Candace and yours truly, which will fail. She and I actually have only gotten closer over the past couple of months as people try to make me attack her. So off, okay? I have no obligation to you to hate the people you hate or try to bring down the people you want brought down.
Look at his face. I love his face.
And there it is.
And there it is. And he bleeped that F word, by the way. She didn't, of course. She got a full-throated F-U-C-K off to everyone, including, as it's come out on X, she has unfollowed and unfriended some of her friends, like Dave Rubin and others who tried to talk to her about this privately. So I take this as not just telling the audience to F off, but telling Christians to F off, telling her friends who've tried to talk to her about it to F off. Yeah, it's so great. I'm effing off. I don't have to watch you anymore.
I'm going to tell you right now, if you're a Todd Thinks, if you're a person who respects what we're doing here, this woman should never, ever, ever be looked at with respect again. I'm going to pull a whole Kendrick Lamar and I'm going to put in I might even name it the Megyn Kelly category. They not like us. I don't rock with you. Now, she gave a full-throated apology and said, I shouldn't have done that. Of course, there's always a path of redemption. There's always grace. But I'm all the way off Megyn Kelly forever.
I'm with you, dude. I am with you. So, and like he said, if she gave a full-throated, like if she experienced remorse, regret for any of that or repentance, it would be different. And you never give up hope on people, but I just don't see her changing her mind on this. I don't see her understanding what's wrong, what's morally wrong about this choice to defend Candace Owens. So yeah, I don't see that happening. So I'm going to share now her speech or her back and forth with Jack Posobiec at TPUSA. And it's just a continuation of this. There's no remorse, there's no repentance, there's no self-awareness, there's no, hey, maybe it's like the easiest moral litmus test in the world to say, yeah, I think this kind of targeted harassment and abusive behavior is wrong. Like, there's none of that. She doesn't come to any of that. Instead, this is what she does.
With Megyn Kelly at Amfest 2025.
Just when you think Turning Point can't go next level on the walkout, they can. They can shift to 11.
Megyn, I've got to ask, how does it feel to be on this stage without Charlie?
Oh, like you, Jack, I miss him so much.
Snaps his fingers and shows you that you are not in control. That
we don't have it all figured out. And I'll tell you, I was backstage a little, and I just couldn't help but seeing her backstage.
With. And the Bible tells us that'll never be thrown and caught for not being able to walk his little girl down the aisle right now. And I'm sure up in heaven that I'm
real. There just is. It's gotten worse without him.
Do you think that there?
Okay, here we go. Sorry, I should have had it queued up to the right moment. So this is where they start to talk about this division that's happening on the right. And it's this, instead of being conflict with the left, the right has been for about 3 months now in high conflict with itself. And it's intragroup conflict instead of intergroup conflict. So it's conflict within a group instead of conflict with a neighboring group. And if you study evolutionary biology, there are people who study these kind of things who say that that's to be expected after a big group win. So the fact that we won, we were riding on this high, we won the election, we've had a lot of cultural wins and political wins. And so now all of these fissures, these divisions that were brewing for over a year or two have just exploded, because after the big win, we're going to see, typically you see intragroup conflict. So all of these things it's like boils coming to a head, right? All of this stuff is bursting. I, for one, yes, I go through periods of being demoralized about what's happening, but and disappointed in certain people like Megyn Kelly. But I've also come to view it as a positive thing. And here's why. Well, I'm very worried. I don't think it's a positive thing when it comes to elections. I'm very worried about the elections, but I'm worried about the political consequences. But here's the positive part of it. Whenever something like this happens, I view it as sort of a time of great revelation. God is illuminating things that I couldn't see before. And we went through a period like this during the COVID years. If you'll remember, it suddenly became, let me take this off the screen for just a second. It suddenly became, during the COVID years, yes, there was a lot of demoralization, and yes, disappointment in certain people and in institutions, but it was a period of great illumination and revelation. God was pulling the mask off of people and institutions, and so suddenly we all could see more clearly around us, like the lights got turned on in the room, and we could see around us and say, "Oh my goodness, that person's an authoritarian. I didn't know that about them." Until we were put into this boiling pot. And then you see Claire Lehman is a great example, someone I used to follow at Colette, and during the COVID years, I lost all respect for her because she was pushing these authoritarian policies. So during that time, we learned, and some of these discoveries were surprising, like, oh, that person loves authoritarianism, or this person loves the government having control over whether or not you get a shot and whether or not you get to open your small business and go to work or not. And so that was a time of great revelation. And the BLM years was happening at the same time. That was a time of great revelation and discovery. And I would argue we're in another one of those periods, especially in the past 3 months. I feel like so many people have been unmasked, and I learned something about them that I didn't know before. And I'm very thankful for that. And because I don't we none of us have time is limited. Our time on this earth is limited. We don't have a lot of time in the day, and I'm sure like a lot of you know, I watch a lot of podcasts, I watch a lot of shows, listen to a lot of things, and I still want to have my time for true crime and Dolly Parton movies. Like, you know, I got to have my and my Golden Girls in there. So, you know, we don't have a lot of time. And in the past 3 months, I've been able to reconfigure the list of shows and things that I watch. A lot have gone by the wayside. Megyn Kelly's one of those for me. Doesn't have to be for you. I'm just saying for me. Done. But because of that, I've been able to fit in new shows like Todd Thinks that I wasn't even aware of. And so it's always a blessing. It may be a silver lining of something awful happening, like all of this chaos and division, but it's a silver lining that I have to focus on the things I'm grateful for about it, right? And one of the things I'm grateful for about it is that learning things I didn't know about people. So it's been good for that. Some things things always become a little bit more clear during these periods. Okay, so we're going to get into it. This is the meat of it now of her response. He's asking her about the division.
There has been an inseparable rift in the conservative movement that we've seen since the death of Charlie.
I mean, there's a rift, but it was starting even before we lost Charlie, and it revolves around Israel. There just is. It's gotten worse without him. He was helping us navigate it. And this is another area in which I miss him so much, because I feel like Charlie and I were completely in lockstep on this. And you guys may have seen the episode that we put out, what we re-released of Charlie and yours truly talking about Israel weeks before he died, where we had a really powerful heart-to-heart on where we both were, who we were both ardent Israel supporters, and had both been extremely defensive of American Jewish people on college campuses getting harassed and those hostage pictures getting torn down, and very outspoken about it and horrified by it. And then we had a discussion at the Student Action Summit in July where there was a passing comment about if Epstein was an intel asset, whose would he have been? Which Charlie asked me. And I said it would make sense that it was the Israelis, since he was very close with the former prime minister and the former president. And then we both got called anti-Semites, like by some legitimate Jewish organizations for that conversation. By the way, Benjamin Netanyahu would go on to say, I was right. And we were both on our heels. But Charlie was with young people every day for a living, in particular young Republicans. And he was seeing what I was seeing in my neck of the conservative woods, which was this party's changing on the issue of Israel. I mean, when I was at Fox, you supported Israel, period. Like, no one was really interested in your actual opinion. You just supported Israel, which was fine for me because I did. But the party started to turn after 10/7, uniform support and sympathy for Israel in 10/7. But as the war went on 2 years later, people were starting to turn on them. It felt like too much. And then we were under pressure to get involved. We had the Iran bombing and so on. And the pressure started to mount on those of us who were pro-Israel to not allow the doubters their say, to try to censor them or disagree with them publicly or call them out. And neither Charlie nor I felt like that was what we wanted to do at all, nor was it our job. We're not the policemen of the conservative movement. I'm not, he wasn't. Ben Shapiro isn't either.
Well, Megyn, you.
Okay, so I'm going to pause it right there because this is a great time to make this point. So first of all, somebody in the chat nailed it as soon as she started talking on this portion. Somebody in the chat said, "Here we go. It's always Israel." Thank you, Nellie. Yes, here we go. It's always Israel. I tune out this stuff at this point. I do not care about your favorite pet topic and your obsession. I don't care at all. And it is a straw man. It's a straw man to pretend that this division is about Israel. And they like to do this. They want to make it about something other than what it is. I'm sure many of you experience this. I've been experiencing it for months now, like at least 6 months. It's really picked up steam in the past month, though, where people, I never post about Israel. It's not a subject that I have a lot of opinions on or know enough about or have any stance one way or the other. The most I've ever said is that, yes, of course, they have a right to exist. I think that question's silly. It's like, does Japan have a right to exist? Does China have a right to exist? Does America have a right to exist? Like, that question itself is silly. Like, what say do I have in it? Of course they have a right to exist. And they do exist. What's the alternative? That we go to war with them and kick them out of their, I don't understand what the alternative is anyway. So that's all I've ever really said. They have a right to exist. They have a right to defend themselves against attacks, terrorist attacks. And also that I didn't like us sending money for their war. I've said those 3 things. That's it. That's the most I've ever said. And yet, even today, this was hilarious. Someone on X came into one of my comments, like they always do. It doesn't matter what I'm talking about. I can be talking about this division that's happening over truth or over, this is what this division is about. It's people being too cowardly, influencers being too cowardly to say that abusive behavior and targeted harassment is wrong. That's what it's about. And so I can do a post about that, having said nothing about Israel because it's not about Israel, and I'll get 100 comments from people about Israel. Like, that's what they want to talk about. I don't want to talk about it. I don't care. You go and talk about it. And if you say something interesting, I might show up in your comments, but like, quit trying to steer the conversation somewhere else. It's a straw man. And so she does her best here to try and pretend the same lie that a lot of them, you'll notice the ones that are pushing this lie, to try and pretend that this division, that Ben Shapiro's speech was about Israel. It wasn't. It was about America. His speech was about truth, and it was about America, and it was about conservatism. He said nothing about Israel. And here she spends 5 minutes or something trying to pretend like, oh, this is a division over my favorite pet topic. It's not. And someone today on X replied to one of my comments about how I really liked Ben Shapiro's speech. And they replied with one of those things they do where they tag Grok and they go, Grok, how many times on average has Keri Smith talked about Israel over the past few years? Like, they thought that I would be some big, like, pro-Israel account or something. It was the best self-own ever. I was like, wow, thanks. This is the best Grok search ever. Thanks for illustrating for me that I never talk about this. I do not care. That's what you care about. That's what every post you do is about. That's your schizo obsession. And so she does this here. She tries to pretend like it's about Israel, and then what? Punches Ben Shapiro there at the end with that little, Ben Shapiro is not the police he doesn't get to demand, what opinions people have. Here, let me rewind that last little bit there for just a second so we can hear that part.
I'm not, he wasn't. Ben Shapiro isn't either. And neither Charlie nor I felt like that was what we wanted to do at all, nor was it our job. We're not the policemen of the conservative movement. I'm not, he wasn't. Ben Shapiro isn't either.
Now, this is crazy. And this is the first example of her gaslighting in her response. I thought her entire response here was cowardly. I thought it was full of deceit and sleight of hand. And so this is the first one. She says, I'm not the police of the internet. Ben's not the police of the internet. Well, first of all, Ben's not acting like the police of the internet. He's not telling you what you can and cannot say. He's doing what you've done for your whole career, Megyn Kelly, which is to offer judgments and opinions. And up until 2 years ago, you can go and pull the tweets. I'm sorry, I don't have it pulled up for you. But Megyn Kelly was criticizing Candace Owens. She did very bold criticisms of Candace on X and went toe to toe with her as recently as 2023. And then for some reason that stopped. When it becomes something much more important than what she was arguing about and criticizing her for back then, when it becomes something much more important, which is this targeted abuse of someone she claims to love, suddenly, I'm not the police I can't say what I think about anything. I can't say if I think something's wrong or right. I can't do that. That's being a police officer. No, it's not. I thought this was the very first clear example of gaslighting.
Well, Megyn, you mentioned him, and your name came up on this stage last night in regards to pretty much all of this. Would you like the opportunity to respond?
Well, I found it kind of funny that Ben thinks he has the power to decide who gets excommunicated from the conservative movement, which shows a willful blindness.
Okay, let's stop. Gaslighting number 2. Ben's speech wasn't about Ben. I talked about this in the last episode. It wasn't about the messenger. It was about the content of what he said. Ben's speech was about truth and reality and definitionally what is conservatism. One of the things he said, and I think this may have been in his heritage speech the day before instead of the Amfest speech, but he made this great point, and allow me to butcher it for you right now. He said, essentially, a nation without borders ceases to be a nation. We all know this to be true. If we became borderless, we're not a country anymore. If we got rid of our borders. Similarly, conservatism has borders. I will add to that, as a Christian, Christianity has borders. Words have borders. They have meaning. Definitionally, in his heritage speech, he laid out, this is what conservatism is. Here are all of the beliefs, the tenets of belief that make up conservatism. And he's asking you, the audience, to then, what we should all be doing is to judge people based on that definition, whether they're conservative or not. That's not him being a policeman. That's him having a dictionary. like that's him observing. That's not being a policeman. And so this whole idea that it's somehow wrong to know what words mean and to retain truth and meaning, that's wrong, that's being a policeman, that's trying to be by force or something, tell people they can't be part of something. That's gaslighting. That's a lie. That's not what's happening. Christian means something. Conservative means something. If they didn't have borders, then AOC, I guess, is a conservative Christian, huh? Any old leftist is a conservative Christian if it means nothing. Anybody who tells you that they don't gatekeep is a liar and a hypocrite. Just like people who say don't make moral judgments are wrong. That's a hypocrite because they're making a moral judgment when they say it. Everyone who abides by reality gatekeeps. In fact, the people who are saying that you can't gatekeep are gatekeeping. Did you not have? We know you guys noticed this, right? They're gatekeeping. They're saying we're going to gatekeep out the ones who gatekeep. It's not that they don't gatekeep. They want to be the ones doing it. It's a lie. It's a manipulation. It's hypocrisy. Jesus, so many verses in scripture where Jesus talked about, I am sending you out among ravenous wolves. He talked about gatekeeping the wolves. He talked about protecting the flock. So I guess Jesus is the OG gatekeeper, huh? He did say, I am the gate. He said, I am the way, the truth. He is truth and the life, and no man cometh to the Father except through me. I'm the gate. So all of this talk about like there's no gatekeeping is, first of all, it is gatekeeping to say that. And second of all, it's a lie. What they're attempting to do to the word conservative or to the word Christian is much like what the left has done to the word woman. The left has said woman doesn't mean anything. It can mean anybody. It can mean men. If woman can mean anybody, then it means nothing. If Christian can mean anything, then that's a word that has lost all meaning. It means nothing. If conservative means anything, then that's a word that's lost meaning. It means nothing. And so Ben Shapiro was not saying, I am the arbiter. He was saying, definitions are the arbiter. What a thing is, that's how we decide, by observing it. If someone is speaking values that are not conservative, but they claim to be conservative, what does the Bible say? You judge them by their fruits. You judge them by what they are, by their actions, by their behaviors, not by whatever label they put on themselves. So that was the second example of gaslighting. We'll continue.
About his position in it. It reminded me a little of when the girl who was the head of our middle school chorus told me she was going to take all my friends away from me. Chorus? The head cheerleader maybe, but like,
I just find this interesting that she's using like mean girl kind of examples, because I think she's a part of this whole mean girl tribe.
so I resent the whole thing. I object to the whole thing. Ben and I, he had the nerve to call me a friend right before he called me a despicable coward for not calling out the people he once called out.
No. First of all, he is friend enough to tell you that you're being cowardly. And he also approached you publicly. Maybe some people didn't see it, but he sat down with you on your tour a few weeks ago, and he talked about these issues with you with grace, and he laid out the facts. And then you, Megyn Kelly, I guess considering him a friend, you did a standalone video falsely saying that he was lying about what Candace was doing. So I find it incredible that she's judging, by the way, notice it's a judgment, right? That the basis on which she's judging him, the measuring stick is so flawed that she's like, him accurately defining my behavior as cowardly is not being a good friend. But me doing a standalone video after he talked about these issues with me, doing a standalone video in which I said he was wrong and he wasn't about what Candace was doing. That's okay. You know, she can do that.
So he both wants to parent me and be my child. He wants to tell me what I have to do and who I have to say what to. And then when I don't, he and some of his friends want to act like utter victims because I won't do what they say. They need me. I have to be their daddy and step in to protect them. And I am not their daddy. And I resent that he thinks he's in a position to decide who must say what to whom and when.
Again, that's a lie. Not who must say. There's no force involved. Don't lie to us. He is righteously judging you for cowardice and for being unable, not just cowardice, because again, cowardice would have just been staying quiet about it because you were afraid of being next on Candace's target list. But you went beyond cowardice and you carried water for her evil behavior. And it's righteous to judge you for that, to judge anyone for that. So not this like what you must say. I love that these people like to cry like the left does. They like to cry. They're cry bullies. They like to say like Tucker did in his speech, you know, oh, denying me freedom of speech. You're trying to cancel. Nobody's canceling you. You're standing on one of the biggest stages in front of a huge audience at one of the biggest conferences this year. So is she. What they don't like is receiving free speech in return that's critical of them. What they're saying, and what Candace Owens has said, is that essentially it's tantamount to saying, if you criticize me with your free speech, that's canceling. No, it's not. Welcome to America. This is what free speech looks like. If you make a bad judgment call, and it's your job to make judgment calls, and that's why we listen to you, is to hear your judgment calls and your opinions. And if you make a bad judgment call, or you engage in bad behavior, you are going to hear from some of us who don't like that judgment call. That's the way it works. If I make a bad judgment call, I'm going to hear from people. I hear from some of you in the comments who think I'm making one now. That's the way free speech works.
Thank you. So I don't think we are friends anymore. I've been a very good friend to Ben. Nobody knew who the heck Ben Shapiro was when I started putting him on my shows on the Fox News channel, and I helped make him a star. And I've been very, very good to Ben over the years, and he's been good to me too. He just recently came on my tour, as did you, and I gave him the most kind introduction I could possibly give him because I know that he's losing subscribers a lot.
Let me just pause it there with this disgusting little piece. So this was, just when I thought she couldn't drop any lower, now we have the I made you. She made him. I made you. I own you. Who owns who here? Who thinks they own who here? She's talking about falsely saying that he thinks he can control what people says. Who actually here on this stage is engaging in projection because she thinks she owns the other person? I made him, she said. He was nobody. I made him a star. She's a kingmaker, you see? And then she insults him and says he's losing subscribers a lot. This grosses me out so much. I've seen her do this in the past few weeks to several people, including Josh Hammer, not just Ben Shapiro. She goes after their follower numbers, which tells you a lot about the character of a person and what they value, how they arrange their hierarchy of value of what has importance in their life. For her, popularity with the world loving you, fame, popularity, follower numbers, that's very high on her list, apparently, because it's the thing she likes to attack others for. I've seen her attack 3 people for that now. Which it's just gross. Like, who cares? For what does it profit a man, the Bible says, for what does it profit a man if he gains the whole world but loses his soul? For what does it profit a man if he gains 1 million subscribers and millions of dollars but loses his soul? What are you putting value in? What are you chasing? What are you putting at the top of that hierarchy of importance? Well, I think she just revealed, for her, one of the things way up there at the top is how many followers somebody has, which I could not care less. I follow all kinds of people. Some of them have millions of subscribers. Some of them have 100. I did a list today, by the way, if you're on X, of accounts that I really appreciate. I'm very grateful for. And I know I missed a lot of people, but it was a long list. And it was just off the top of my head. And it's a great mix of people, some with millions of followers, some with 100 or less. And this whole idea of Ben Shapiro doesn't matter. That's an ad hominem attack. If you didn't notice that, by the way, a bandwagon fallacy as well. If it has a lot of subscribers, it must be good. You know who else had a lot of views? Jerry Springer. Desperate Housewives. Like, come on. The Bible says that the path is narrow. You shouldn't expect, honestly, you shouldn't expect to have a lot of followers if you're speaking truth. You shouldn't. Because Jesus said the world is going to hate you. It hated me first. You shouldn't expect to have a lot. You know, it would be nice, but it would also cause me a little concern. It might be a red flag that I was trying to chase the follows or the audience, or, you know, and I think that's part of what's guiding her here. I think she sees, you know, Candace Owens, a lot of subscribers, supposedly the number one podcast in the world, according to Candace, which you can't trust anything Candace says. I think Joe Rogan's bigger, but Candace, supposedly number one, she's up there for sure. If she's not number one, she's number two, who knows? But very popular. The road to hell is paved, right? Well, that's good with good intentions, but the road to hell is wide. And I think she sees the popularity of that, and she does not want to. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe this is not a motivation, but it appears to me that a possible motivation for her Megyn Kelly's recent behavior is that she sees the money and the numbers that people like Candace are generating by courting, or at least being unwilling to say, by courting anti-Semites, or at least being unwilling to say that that's wrong. I think she sees those numbers. She sees, like, she wants the groper audience, maybe. The thing about chasing those larger audiences is that not only do you, I think, sacrifice your soul and your values and your principles, and it's bad for you, it's bad for your soul as a human being, but the other thing is that it pragmatically, it's not worth it anyway. Even if you're not a believer, you don't care about the soul or any of that, it's not a long-term thing anyway, because you're chasing, yes, a much bigger audience, but they're more fickle. And so you have to keep appeasing them and whatever their dark desires are. I just think that was incredible. I made Ben Shapiro, and he's losing subscribers. Neener. I mean, that's really what that part was. We'll continue.
I've been very, very good to Ben over the years, and he's been good to me too. He just recently came on my tour, as did you, and I gave him the most kind introduction I could possibly give him, because I know that he's losing subscribers a lot. And so I tried to do something nice for him by giving him a long 10-minute intro and personally vouching for him. And we mixed it up on Israel out on stage. It wasn't Israel because we're on.
Oh, also, let me just say this. One last thing. When she attacked Josh Hammer for his subscriber numbers, she did the same thing she just did to Ben, except she stuck the knife in even more. She said something like, she was talking with Dave Smith, and she said something like, you know, I used to promote his ridiculous, I can't remember the negative word she used, but basically his stupid podcast. Well, that also tells me something. You're saying it as if you're this magnificent, kind, benevolent, you know, elite person, and you were like, even here, the way she's talking about Ben, like, I did this nice thing for him. I said nice things because I'm so magnanimous. I can never say that word. And I'm so charitable. And even though I don't like it, like, that's with Josh Hammer's podcast. If you didn't like his podcast, then why did you retweet it? That tells me something about you too. Why did you even do that? I have friends, if you're on X, you know, people send you stuff all the time, like this tweet or that tweet. I don't have time to watch most of them, so I don't retweet them, because I don't know what's in it. I may like the person, but I'm not gonna just retweet it because, you know, I don't know what's in it. And I want my word to mean something. So, and a lot of times I just don't have time to watch it. So if you're just like, oh, I'm going to promote your podcast, even though I think it's stupid, then what good is your endorsement of anything? Because clearly you'll endorse things you don't like. Yes, Melatra, you're right. And I still cannot read that word. I'm not going to try. It's like a anonymous. I cannot say that word either. Magnanimous. Thank you. I need a hooked on phonics coach for some. There's a few words that are specific tongue twisters for me. That's one of them. My husband always laughs because he's actually given me the phonetic how to say anonymity many times, and I still can't say it. I don't know why. Yes, Sav smiles. You see it. You see it. Sav smiles, gets it. She says, Tucker does the same thing. He likes to say, who is Josh Hammer? Who is Seth Dillon? Who is Tommy, when he had them all on his shows? Yeah, he did the same thing to James Lindsay. He pointedly, on purpose, said, who's James Lindsay? He likes to pretend he doesn't know people. It's his way of insulting them and pretending like, nobody knows who they are, but he clearly knows who they are. And it's this mean girl, catty, fake, dishonest crap. Have the balls to just say, Tucker could have the balls to just say, I don't like James Lindsay, but he doesn't do that. He does this mean girl, passive aggressive. It's like, it's very feminine coded, is passive aggressive. Who is Seth Dillon? It's gross. Good Grief says, I can't say rural. Yeah. Certain words like that. Okay.
The same place on Israel. We mixed it up over whether Tucker Carlson should be excommunicated from the conservative movement, which I do not believe. And thank you.
Again, gaslighting. What is this? Example number 4. She falsely says that Ben Shapiro said that Tucker Carlson should be excommunicated. No, he didn't. He defined what conservatism is. And if you have a brain and you've been watching Tucker Carlson, now maybe you haven't. There's a lot of people, I loved old Tucker. And so there's some people who haven't been watching him since he went off on his own, and they have no idea what he's been saying lately. And they love old Tucker. Well, old Tucker has left the building. Old Tucker is gone. If you don't already follow him, there's a great channel called Milk Bar TV, Nathan Livingstone. And he has done some great compilations of old Tucker versus new Tucker side by side. So you can see how he's changed his position on almost everything, especially on Islam and Sharia law. And now he's talking about we should return to feudalism. And so I do not believe Tucker Carlson is conservative. That's my observation. That's not me trying to excommunicate someone. That's me observing you don't fit the definition. That's like saying, Ben Shapiro wants to excommunicate trans women from the category of women. Well, it's not by his power. He's not doing it. He's pointing out, hey, these men aren't women. Like, they're not definitionally. That's just reality, observable reality.
And when it was over, we hugged, said goodbye, and then we had a nice text exchange a couple days later saying our friendship was important to us. And the next thing I saw was him attacking me on stage last night as a coward. So that's not friendship. And I think
she left out that she attacked him in a standalone video in between those two events. She totally left that out.
That's fine with me. Okay. With friends like that.
I'd also like to point out that over the past 3 months, one of her previous bits of gaslighting, when she did sit down with Ben Shapiro on her tour, and Ben Shapiro told her the kinds of things Candace has been engaging in for 3 months, and she pretended like she didn't know. At the time, I believed her. I do not believe her anymore. I think that was a lie back then. But at the time, she said, well, I don't know what Candace has been saying. I don't have time to follow everything. And I thought, okay, that's probably true. I believed her back then. I don't think she was telling the truth anymore. I think she knew, she was well aware of what was happening, was trying to feign ignorance so she didn't have to say anything. I think that's when she was still trying to be quiet, I guess, about what Candace was doing. But what's very telling is in that first video we watched with Todd Thinks, she said that in the past month, she's grown very close, much, much closer to Candace. Imagine that. Now that we're supposed to believe that now you have your eyes open and you're looking at everything and you're watching very closely because you're the one that's setting up the meeting between Candace and Erica. So you have to be watching closely what's happening now, right? And in that month, you became closer to the malignant narcissist. What kind of person does that? I've become very close to this malignant narcissist now. Well, hello. I don't care if it's bad judgment or bad character. You're a dangerous person to be around. So she says Ben's not a good friend to her, but I guess Candace Owens is a very much closer good friend now. That's disgusting. Okay, tell me more about you. Tell me more about your bad judgment and bad character. Unbelievable to me. Ben crossed the line, but Candace hasn't, even though she's accused Charlie's widow, his friends, his family, his organization, his pastors of complicity in murder, and told people to withdraw their support of TPUSA, the stage you're sitting on right now, to take their money out and quit donating. She's trying to destroy the very stage you're sitting on, to destroy this organization that's done so much political good for us. And that's not crossing a line. She's your close friend now, but Ben Shapiro crossed the line because he said we should stand on truth. Okay. Got it.
There was also some response where it seemed like that call was being co-signed by the new head of CBS News, Barry Weiss. And I wanted to know if you wanted to respond to that as well.
So it's a similar situation with Barry. None of this is about them calling me out for anything I've said or haven't said, or it's certainly not about Erica Kirk, as Ben tried to make it sound last night. It's about Israel. Those two are very pro-ardent Israel.
Lie. It is not about Israel. Again, this is gaslighting number 5. It's about Israel. Lie. Nothing Ben said in that speech was about Israel. Do not lie straight to my face. This is the straw man fallacy. Now, I know a lot of people these days use words they don't know, and they use straw man. They overuse it, and they use it when it doesn't apply. This is a great illustration of straw man fallacy. It's instead of engaging with what a person actually said, with what Ben was actually talking about truth, about definitions, the definitions of words, about meaning, about integrity and doing the right thing. Instead of engaging with that, you go and construct a man made of straw. You go and construct something else, and you attack that instead. So she just went and constructed a straw man called Israel and is attacking that instead of attacking what he said, because she can't. Unbelievable. It's about Israel, she says. It's not.
Activists, which is fine, but they don't get to dictate how the rest of us feel about Israel or what we do with respect to our friends and our friends' opinions on Israel.
Nobody's trying to. I don't give a crap what. None of my arguments about Megyn today or any other day have been about her position on Israel. I could care less what she has said about Israel.
And I'll tell you, Barry Weiss wants to couch herself as Erica's protector, Erica's defender. She's retweeting the Ben speech, saying anybody who doesn't call out conspiracy theorists is a coward. Erica Kirk barely knows Barry Weiss. Barry doesn't know anything about Erica.
Okay, here we get into more mean girl ad hominem attacks. This is just, her whole speech is just one disappointing act of dishonesty, gaslighting, and cowardice. So now, much like she attacked Ben Shapiro by trying to do a personal attack about how many subscribers he has and how she made him and he would be nobody without her. Now she's attacking Barry Weiss and saying, she doesn't have the close relationship I have with Erica. She knows nothing. She's not friends with her. I'm in the inside club. She's not in the inside club. That's not an argument. That's a personal attack on Barry.
Barry Weiss has never been to a Turning Point event. Do you guys remember her here? Standing up for what we believe in when Charlie was alive? I don't remember her standing up for our principles. I don't remember her defending Charlie the many times he was called a racist or an anti-Semite. I really don't remember that at all. What I do remember is she had Erica Kirk come on one town hall in which Barry Weiss tried to play both super important VIP executive and super fabulous star anchor at her new network, CBS.
So she's making fun of Barry for being an executive and a host. Now, put aside your opinions on whether a person can be both, or put aside your personal opinions on Barry Weiss. I don't know enough about her to have a personal opinion on whether she's a good host or not. I don't know. But isn't Megyn, isn't she independent? Isn't she both the executive and the host of her own company? And here she is making fun of her and saying you can't do that. I mean, I don't know. I just think it's funny. This is total mean girl behavior. You don't get to do what I do.
Pro tip, Barry, that's no way to win friends at your new organization, to try to steal all the hosting abilities of the on-air talent.
Do you see her face there? Her face is starting to remind me of Candace. Her sadistic little mean girl dig, like, ew. You could turn the sound off on that part and just watch her face. It's gross.
So good luck with that. And what she did when she had Erica there was to have the nerve to bring on the man who asked the final question of Charlie right before he got shot,
Hunter Kozak.
to put Erica in the position of having to defend whether Trump uses hateful rhetoric. The nerve.
How dare you? How dare you? I think Erica is quite capable of offering an opinion on something that's distant from her, like Trump, and she's pretending like that was a horrible thing to ask her to do. Why? Trump is a distant topic. Trump is not her or her loved ones or her pastor. You know what's more despicable? The nerve, Megyn, you say the nerve. You know what's more despicable is behind the scenes, you arranging a sit down with Erica, the target of narcissistic abuse, with her abuser. That's disgusting. What's more despicable, the nerve, is you who claims to love her, not being able to come out and say simply, hey, like Matt Walsh did, hey, Candace, stop it. What you're doing, it's wrong. You can't even do that. The nerve. Her response here is more appropriate for what she's done and the position she's put Erica in to defend herself alone. Well, not alone, because there are people like Matt Walsh and Ben Shapiro saying clearly, hey, Candace, stop it. This is wrong. But Megyn's not one of those people. Megyn's one of the people calling it a feud, belittling it and trivializing what's happening to her. Calling it a feud, calling it a beef, trying to make it look like a cat fight. It's ridiculous. It's not some two-sided feud over something trivial. It is a one-sided, again, I'll say a one-sided 3-month campaign of targeted abuse and harassment by a malignant narcissist who has a cult of millions at her disposal to join in that abuse of her victims. That's what this is. The nerve. I'm going to stop it there. There's more. You can go and watch the whole despicable thing with her in Posobiec. But make up your own mind. I'm just saying this. I'm done. I'm done with her. I can't trust her on anything anymore. And very, like Todd thinks on his channel, he was saying this too, very disappointed with her in some ways more than with Candace, because I knew Candace was a narcissist forever. It just escalated to where it's very visible and it's very sadistic in the past 3 months. But I thought Megyn was like a real one, you know? So it's very disappointing. Okay. I'm going to read a couple of these. I'll take a break from, I'm going to read a couple of these, and then I got a couple of pieces of scripture we're going to end on today. Push-ups. Hey, push-ups. What's up? Says Tucker's son works for JD Vance. Also, JD is retarded. I know Tucker's son works for JD, which is a little weird. I don't know enough about Tucker's son. I know Tucker's brother is disgusting. He's the groiper. I don't know anything about his son though, so I can't offer an opinion on that. Yeah, I won't get into that. That's for another day. Push-ups also says, oh great, Megyn and Posobiec, real winners there. Yeah, Posobiec was photographed at TPUSA doing smiling photos with Myron Gaines. And Myron was wearing a Holocaust denial shirt. In the picture, he's wearing a shirt that basically it's this meme that the Grapers wear about Cookie Monster couldn't have cooked 6 million cookies, and they're basically saying 6 million people didn't die in the Holocaust. That's the t-shirt he's wearing, and that was very illuminating to see him photographed with that guy. Again, this is not about freedom of speech. We love freedom of speech. That's why we're using it to offer criticisms and judgments, just like you guys do, just like the people who are crying victim do. There's a difference between freedom of speech and freedom of association. And freedom of association means we all get to choose who we associate with, who we lend our credibility to, and we also get to choose the ones that we don't. And a lot of people seem upset by that. Again, it's the people who are claiming that there's no gatekeeping, that they don't gatekeep. It's not that they don't like freedom of association. It's that they don't like the measurement of judgment by which we are that we are using to say, "Hey, I would not take a photo with Myron Gaines." I think that's a bad judgment call. Now, we've all been in pictures with people, if you go to conferences and stuff, with people who we don't realize who they are. Remember when Jordan Peterson a lot of people were attacking him years and years ago when he took a photo with some groiper or something. He didn't know who that person was. But Myron Gaines is so prominent, and he's on all of the very popular, influential podcasts, and there's no way, I can't imagine any reality in which Jack Posobiec doesn't know who he is, or about his Holocaust denial, or about him saying we're pro-Hitler. That's what he said in a recent tweet, that he is pro-Hitler. I don't know. A lot of interesting stuff coming out of Amfest. Justin Peterson, hello. Good to see you. Thank you for the very generous super chat. He says, "Merry Christmas to you, Keri. Thank you for bringing my voice of sanity and virtue in the world." Oh, that's a lot of pressure. My God. Grateful for you. Always sending love to you and yours this time of year. Well, Merry Christmas to you. It's the best time of year, and I hope you're enjoying it. I hope you have wonderful feasting plan this week, and time with friends and family, all of you. We're making a roast. We're not doing turkey or ham. We're making a roast. And here's a tip. Martha Stewart, I never appreciated her until recently. Her recipes are so good. She doesn't actually, if you guys have made, probably some of you have made her recipes long before I did, and you know this, but she doesn't add stuff just to be fancy or expensive, like to make it look fancy. She only uses what's needed in the recipe. And sometimes there are fancy ingredients, but only when they're needed. She doesn't like add things to make it complicated. She gives the most basic, simple recipe for delicious food. So we're going to make the Martha Stewart's pot roast. And I can't wait. And also tamales. Mexican Christmas also in the Garcia house. Push-ups also says Keri needs more time to read Pop Psychology. I do. I need more time for that, and gardening, and I still haven't finished painting the fence. I've got 48 more panels to go. I still haven't picked that up. Andrew Knapp. Thank you, Andrew Knapp, for the super chat. Says, remember Megyn criticizing Trump in the GOP primary? Quote, "So when did you become a Republican?" Reminds me of that level of criticism. Yes, it does. Thanks for reminding me of that. Also, Peter's Jade, thank you again for the super chat. Says, another point, remember that Satan's temptation of Christ was to give him the world. Yes. To make him rich and famous. Yes. More telling, it was Satan's to give in the first place. Yes. Justin, bingo. All of your worldly desires, right? Who offers those? Andrew Knapp, member for 10 months, Andrew. Thank you. Says, not to agree with Megyn Kelly, but Ben deserves to lose subs. Okay. Well, as I said, I don't watch him closely enough to know. I'm sure I know that I disagreed with him a lot during the COVID years. I disagree with a lot of his posts back then. So if you have other reasons why you don't think he's a good follow, I'll just take your word at that, because I don't know enough to have an opinion on the other things he said. I just really like that speech. Andrew Knapp for $5 says, hate me for it, but the longer time goes on, the more Steven Crowder looks right about Big Con. I won't hate you for it. I'm not a fan of Crowder either. It's a year of me I'm just done with a lot of people. So I think he's had some very correct calls on Candace, but only because he hates Candace. It's like watching two narcissists fight. It's like beta fish. You can't put two of them in a tank together, because two male beta fish will just attack each other. Ask me how I know. When I was in college, I had some betta fish. Okay. Melatara for $5. Thank you. Says she's speaking like a mean girl trying to win a popularity contest in high school and spot on with the narcissist smirk, right? Her face during that part was very telling. ADL for $4.99 says Pasobic really has gone downhill, apparently, which I had not realized until now. Yeah. I'll save that, my thoughts on that for another time. The John back for $10. Thank you. John says, I just got here. Megyn Kelly has been an establishment shill. She tried to derail Trump in 2016. No need to read. I don't trust Trump. Oh, you're telling me your personal thought. No need to read this part. Well, I'm going to read it anyway because it's interesting. I don't trust Trump fully. Vance is good. Tucker Carlson sucks. Susie Wiles sucks. Shapiro is a clown. Okay. Tell us what you really think, John Beck. And then this one, so happy you're standing against this. Thank you for that words of encouragement, because you can be sure in the past month, I have heard from thousands of Candace, Tucker, and now Megyn fans who are very upset with my opinion on this. And that's okay. You can be upset with my opinion on it. I'm just going to tell you what I think. I get accused every day now, multiple times a day, of being a Zionist. I also I'm pretty sure now they're switching to neocon. I'm just going to say it now. Mark it now, bookmark this video, whatever. I think they're going to start calling me a neocon because I've noticed now I see that word being used all the time and I think incorrectly. And I'm like, okay, that's probably the next one that's coming. And I also get falsely accused of being paid by Israel, which again is weird because I never tweet about Israel. Don't have any. Why would they pay me to do nothing? They're like, hey, Keri, here's $7,000. Post another picture of your dog and talk about woke or woke right. Anyway, that's not true, but I'm flattered that you think you think that they would find me a worthwhile investment. Anyway, I get accused of that. And I like to say to people, it's even worse than you think. I say my real opinions for free because these are my real opinions. And they're like, that's awful. You really believe this? Yes, I do. And they're like, that's even worse. I'm like, I know. I told you. It's even worse. This is what I really think about things. Okay, so somebody says Tulsi's speech was good. I heard that too, and I saw a clip of it. That was great. I haven't seen the whole speech though, so I'm not going to cover that one today, but I'm going to watch the whole thing. I did see Allie Beth Stuckey's speech was excellent. Of course, if you're not a Christian, you may not find a lot of value. Maybe you will. Maybe you'll still find value in it. She's talking about biblical truth. Her whole speech was centered on the Bible. It was great. And I'm gonna, if I have time, I'll probably cover that one this coming week. I'm really glad, like, despite these lies that they're speaking about, people want to cancel or deplatform or what have. No, I'm grateful that they put Megyn Kelly on that stage and they put Tucker Carlson on that stage because I think they both exposed themselves. It's more visible to more people now. It's certainly more visible to me what they are and what they are not through observation and knowing definitions. So thank you for that. Okay. And Pink of Us says, come to the neocon Zionists. We are musty and boring. It's the best. Well, if I keep getting called that, I guess I'll just become one. Isn't that how it works? That's how it works with a lot of these people who are suddenly saying they're fascists and Nazis. It seems like they just decided to become what they were being called, right? The John Beck for $10 says, Tiger snack and Christmas fun. Whoa, wait till I tell Tiger. Happy New Year. I need to get insulted by Big Con to fill in more of my bingo card. Yeah, this year I should do a bingo card. I've been called everything you could possibly be called, which again, I feel like that's probably a good sign. It's like the path is narrow, right? So everybody's going to hate you on all sides of everything. And, I've been called this year all the old leftist ones that they call me, Nazi, alt-right, far right, Trump tard, whatever, maggot. Like I've been called all those. I've been called, a transphobe, homophobe, and racist, of course, they've called me that. And then get this, I've also been called a trans-enabling Pharisee, and a leftard, a liberal, a libtard, a feminist, far left, and then Zionist, neocon, a shill, pay by Israel. Anyway, you get it's a lot. It's a lot of badges to display. But thank you for the tiger snack. We have our stockings hung. I don't know if you guys hang stockings. We do. And people give us gifts of like Christmas gifts that are Christmas related, I mean. And so we've received several stockings for Tiger, and our dog has 4 stockings. It's too much. Like, he has more stockings than my husband and I have together combined. So don't give us any more Tiger stockings. Our dog is so spoiled. He also has, because this old house that we're renovating is so big, and I wanted him to have a bed in each room. So my husband makes so much fun of me for this, but Tiger does have 7 beds. It sounds extravagant, but if the house is so big, I don't want him to have to go all the way down the stairs. If you don't know, if you're a new viewer, I'm done with the serious stuff. I'll just tell you this. So all the people who don't care about house renovation, you are free to leave. This is an old house. It was built in 1914. And when we bought it, a lot of people were saying, "What are you doing?" Because it was such a fixer-upper, and, but the price was amazing because it was such a fixer-upper, and it was the kind of place where I felt like, we have to get this house, because if we don't, what if somebody buys it and tears it down or something, instead of putting work into it. And so the whole exterior, like the inside of the house, is built like a tank. It's tongue and groove shiplap, pine, longleaf pine shiplap. And the amount of nails these people, and you have to think back when they were building this in the early 1900s, they were hand driving all those nails too, the hammer. And so we've cut some doorways, and it's almost impossible to tear those planks out because of how well it was put together. But on the outside, there was a lot of rot. So we've been renovating it now for 3 years as we live in it. And we do a lot of the inside work ourselves, but the outside work, we hired a crew. Last year, they demolished the entire porch and balcony and rebuilt it. That was amazing. It looks a lot better from the street now. And we're still working on all of the interior rooms. But it's a work in progress. And even though there's always, sometimes if you take, let me say this. A lot of people are worried about if they're going to be able to afford a home or not, especially young people. And then one of the things I would recommend to them, if it's right for you, is to consider moving to a more rural area and buying a beautiful fixer-upper that just needs some love and attention. And if you think, I can't do that because I don't know how to do that, welcome to the club. My husband and I didn't know anything about this when we moved in. We've learned a lot from friends who have that know-how and have been willing to come over and work with us and show us how to do things like sheetrocking and everything. We've also learned a lot. My husband's learned a lot from YouTube, and it doesn't matter how long it takes. The payoff is worth it. It's much more affordable. And we are living in, it's like living in a work of art is how I feel. It's sort of like, sometimes I'm like, I can't believe we get to live here, even though it's overwhelming. And even though we probably have 3 more years of renovation ahead of us, it's still worth it. And so that's a way you might be able to get into a home, is if you're willing to buy a fixer-upper in a rural area and put that time into it. Just my suggestion. Yay, look, see? Yes, rural is the way to go, and small towns, harder in some ways, but better than others. I absolutely agree. There are trade-offs, of course. You have to drive a longer distance to get to big, like when I've been working in Austin a little bit lately, and I have to drive an hour each way, and that kind of sucks, but it's completely worth it for all the benefits of living in a small town. And you have to drive a little ways, a little bit further to get to a grocery store. I don't mind. We got a Dollar General. So, yeah, it's less expensive. Yeah, and in a small town like this, as you meet people, people in city, I feel like people in a city maybe can't fathom this. At least the friends I know who live in a city. We meet people who have one thing and we have one thing and we trade. We have a friend who brings us eggs from her chickens. She just brings us eggs and leaves them on our stoop. It's on our porch. It's amazing. And then my husband is really into baking bread lately, all different kinds of loaves of bread. And so we trade her bread. We just bake loaves of bread for her. And I love that. It's like I wouldn't have that. At least I never had that when I was in a city. Okay. Oh, wait. Good grief. I love your animal print Santa hat. Thanks, lady. I found this hat at Goodwill. Otherwise, I would tell you where to get it, but I don't know because I just found it at a thrift store. Is there a Trader Joe's nearby? Nope. And actually, there's not very many Trader Joe's in the Austin area in general. There are a couple. I went to one the other day when I was down in Austin, but there aren't that many. There's a lot more. With HEB is the big chain here, and HEB is great. There's HEB, there's Brookshire Brothers, there's Sprouts. There's a lot more Whole Foods and Sprouts and stuff. Bubble butt. I love your name. I love alliteration. It's just a fun word. Okay, so I moved from Dallas to a town in East Texas that has 350 people. A town a little bit bigger, 4 miles down the road, has a Dollar General. Megyn, Keri, let me know if you need another moderator. I'd love to do it. Megyn, hit me up on X. I don't go into my messages on a lot of other platforms. Hit me up on X. Send me a message there. Or in the comments below this video, please put a message. I will see it later, I promise. Thank you. Also, if you're new, I know there's a lot of new people. This is my husband, Anthony Music. We're in just like hanging out time now because I love this time of year. I feel like, it's Christmas vacation time. We're gonna go to the gym. We're gonna cook some yummy food. My mother-in-law's coming. It's gonna be great. And this is my husband in the chat, Anthony Music, without the A. Drop the A. And you can find him on YouTube. You can go listen to some of his music. I love this man. That's all I'll say. Okay, Merry Christmas, all. We're gonna wrap it up. Is your husband a musician? Yes. Oh, yes. Okay, well, since you asked, I jump at any opportunity to promote my husband. Okay, it's been a while, so I think I can show you this video. So this is one of his songs with the full band. And we did a music video for it. And he let me be in it at the very end during the credits. And our dog is in it. And I love this song. Now it's called Devil in My Heart. And if you listen closely to the lyrics, he's got a Alexander Solzhenitsyn quote in here about how the line dividing good and evil runs down the heart of every man. And it's really, the lyrics are kind of, if you're paying close attention, it's a song about, I think anyway, it's up for but my take on this song is it's a song about the spirit, our spirit versus our flesh. But people who don't listen very closely, I say this because he got a little note in his tip jar once from a complainer who said, "Don't do that devil song." And he was like, "What? Did you not listen to the lyrics?" But anyway, this is called The Devil in My Heart. And I'm going to play this for you. And then we're ending. So.
I've got the devil in my heart. I've got his song upon my lips. Every time she moves her hips, I've got the devil in my heart. I got the warpath in my blood. I've got the scalps of 50 men. It's hard to stop once you begin. When you got the devil in your heart. She broke my heart in Comanche on the day the Spanish came. She took me far into the desert. How can I be the one to blame? She's got the devil in her heart. Every time she moves her lips, she's like a tempest or eclipse. She's got the devil in her heart. I met the devil way out west. He had a star upon his chest. The posse followed us out there. 40 days without no rest. He said the line of good and evil runs down the heart of every man. It's only then you'll understand that you've got the devil in your heart. I reached for my gun, he reached for his. He had that smile upon his lips. He didn't see my sleight of hand. I shot the devil in the heart. I shot the devil in the heart. On the day the Spanish came. How can I be the one to blame? I've got the devil in my heart. She broke my heart in Comanche.
you ingrates make a mess in my bar, I'll put you 6 feet under. Okay. That was fun. It's been a while since I showed that, so that was really a treat for me. I hope it was a treat for you. Um, Yay, thank you. Wow, great music. Yes, I think it's great. I am biased as the wife. Um, but yeah. Drunk Keri. No, I'm sober, dude. That was me. That was me excited that they let me hold a gun in the video. We weren't intending on having that in there. That actually, and the gun is not period specific, right? Which people have pointed out. That's because it was just a gun that happened to be at the location and it was loaded. And so we were like, let's just use it. Anyway, okay. Thank you guys for hanging out. I hope you have a great week. I'm not sure when I'll be streaming again because it's Christmas. I hope you have just a blessed Christmas with your family and friends, and have great food and celebrate the things that matter. Because as I mentioned earlier, our time here is limited. And yeah, I'll see you guys later. Thanks for hanging out today. Okay, take care. Bye-bye.